In this video I'm going to show you what I've been making recently. Hi, I'm Alex and this is Gingerhead & Co, my sewing vlog. I'm going to quickly show you some of the makes from September and October. I don't remember when I made them. I have been making them recently, and there is going to be no surprise that most of the makes, most of the things that I've chosen are for cover stitching. I was practicing my new cover stitch. I was trying to learn something about it. So a lot of the makes are picked because I could cover stitch them, and probably for the nearest 50 years all the makes are going to be cover stitched. So the first make is what I'm wearing, and it's from Berda magazine. It's one of my favorite patterns from Berda Style magazine. It's from 2019 January, and the pattern number is 113. It's an asymmetric top and I love it, and the fabric is from my stash. I think I got it from Colville, and I just wanted to practice, and there is a lot of practicing. It's definitely not perfect because I've been using different cover stitches to see the differences. That's 3 needles cover stitch here, and that's my new one, I think, and it's not perfect because it's quite difficult to control the machine. This one is 2 needles narrow and it's my new one, so I think I've just used the new one, so Juki MF7923. I was also cover stitching the hem using the top and bottom cover, so the spreader. And the top is just an exercise in cover stitching basically, but I am going to wear it because these tops are really comfortable. I've made a few. I do wear them. They are very comfortable, they are quite loose. I just feel they are very me. And if you have the pattern from Berda Style magazine, I would recommend it because it gets a lot of compliments. Perhaps it's not only me who likes this sort of patterns. Not everybody likes asymmetric things, but I don't mind. It works for me. I added a band and I calculated my band on my own, but other than that I didn't change the pattern at all. I think it starts with size 36 in Berda, so I sized it down a bit, but it's still loose and comfortable. Perfect for me. This top actually comes in sizes European 34 to 42, so the smallest would be for bust 80 centimeters or 31.5 inches, and the biggest size would be for bust 96.5 centimeters or almost 38 inches. I made size 34 but took it in the sides a bit. Because of the cascading side, you can get away with the top being around your size rather than precisely your size. Then let's move on to Harper Cardigans, and yes, it's plural because I've made quite a few. I discovered this pattern, well, I discovered it about 2 years ago, and it was always on my to-do list to make in the future, but every time I wanted to make it, the weather was really not for cardigans anymore. So finally this year, prompted by Sue, my mother-in-law, my wonderful mother-in-law, who sent me the pattern again. It's a free pattern, so this is brilliant. She sent me the PDF pattern, size petite. So I thought, well, now I really need to make it. And I made 1, 2, 3, 4 so far, and there are going to be more. Not all of them are for me, some of them are going to go to my sister. It's a brilliant pattern, and I did suspect that it was going to be a brilliant pattern, so I'm not surprised, but there are quite a few options. I repeat, it is a free pattern, still available on Sinclair Patterns website. I will add the link in the description box to that cardigan. It comes in sizes XXS, and it really is a small size then, perfect for people who are on the smaller side of the scale. And XXL is also quite generous, so I think it suits so many people because the size range is really big. Everything is perfect about this pattern. The instructions are absolutely gorgeous. I never really follow the instructions when I make cardigans because I make a lot of cardigans. I know how I want to make them, and I'm not very obedient. But the instructions are brilliant. They are step-by-step illustrated instructions suitable for beginners. You can also make the cardigans shorter or longer. You can have the duster version, the long version, the classic version, and the cropped version. You can have the sleeves that are longer or shorter. Basically, you can also add your own tweaks to that. I used the pattern because I wanted to, again, cover stitch a lot of things, and I always top stitch my bands. So this is the first one, and that's the long version, but not duster. I'm going to add some footage of me pouncing in the cardigans. The pattern is for knits. You can use various weights knits, but I wouldn't use anything with less than 20-30% stretch. Mine's got around 40% stretch. It's semi-fitted with various length options, cropped, classic, long line and duster. It's finished with white buttons. The duster has a split hem. There are various sleeve length options, finished with cuffs or buttons. Super versatile and extremely easy to customize. It doesn't take a lot of fabric. You would need between 1 and 2 meters depending on the view. I used some knit that I had in my stash, where I buy loads of my kind of practice fabric from Colville, so possibly. I cover stitched the bands, so it's kind of almost like flat lock. I know it's not, but it's 3 needles cover stitching, and it makes everything sit flat and it looks good in my eyes. It's very easy to make. If you have never made a cardigan, it might take you a bit longer because of matching of the notches and everything. Go slowly if you've never made a cardigan, but you will succeed. It's a simple make. And even if you are not happy with your first one, you are going to be happy with each next one. I just wanted to cover stitch, and I did cover stitch using various threads and various needles. To be honest, I don't think it looks bad. I don't think there was anything that I want to complain about, even though I still treat all the cardigans here as my practice versions. I've got the crop version that is bottle green. The pattern starts with size 0 for 31.5 inch bust or 80 centimeter bust, and almost 4 inches or 86 centimeters hip. The biggest size is size 30 for almost 60 inches bust or 152 centimeters, and for 63 inches hip or 160 centimeters hips. It has a petite, regular or tall option as well. This one is petite and this one is cropped. Yeah, it is see-through. It's knit that I definitely got from Colville, and I bought all possible colors because I like this knit as something over my dresses and I like working with it. It's not very warm, but that's what I need just to cover, just to add a little bit of warmth, not a lot. Yeah, the cropped version might be my favorite. We'll see. If you wear a lot of dresses, the cropped version is definitely going to work for you. And then a long version, and I made two more long versions of the Harper Cardigans by Sinclair Patterns. First one is this, and it's slightly blue. It's kind of like dove grey, but with the hint of blue. And I really like it because it goes with quite a few of my clothes, quite a few of things from my wardrobe. So it is going to be worn quite a lot. I love it. And again, I cover stitched everything possible, so all the seams around the bands are cover stitched. Not all the seams are cover stitched, but all the seams around the bands are cover stitched with 3 needle cover stitch. And this one is my Juki MCS1500. This one is not Juki MF7923. It's easy to style with pretty much anything. It can be warm and cozy or made in fine knits. It's useful for light layering. The cropped version would go really well with more fitted dresses, but the simplicity of the design makes it perfect for a pair of jeans as well. You can make this cardigan a statement piece if you make it in some bright colored or vividly patterned or even just textured knits. The duster or the long view can easily be worn as coatigans for the spring or for warmer autumn days. And finally another long one from the same fabric that I made the cropped one, just the longer version. So I'm going to add some footage for you to laugh. I didn't interface my bands because I wanted this soft and more floaty and delicate look. My fabric is perfect for that. But for more sturdy look, or if you are using buttons, you will need to add stretch interfacing, and I'd recommend using non-stretch one for the part of the front bands where you want to add your closures. Of course, you can also add pockets, but my fabric is very thin and I really didn't want pockets in very thin fabric. Cardigans are always in fashion. They can be embellished and customized. They can be styled to look casual or smart. You can add a belt, you can wear them with boots or trainers, with jeans or dresses, pretty much anything. and this one takes about an hour to make, so no excuses. I would recommend this pattern to beginners as it's easy to sew, it's a staple piece, so you will wear it a lot. It's a brilliant ratio of sewing time to wearing time. I think it's a staple in your wardrobe. If you haven't got it yet, go and check. Then I'm going to show you all the things that I made for Hedgehubby. It is like a guinea pig. Hedgehubby is my husband, for those of you who don't know. I was practicing, yes. So I was practicing my cover stitching. There is a learning curve in my new cover stitch, and I'm going to show you why it's a learning curve. I was using a lot of scraps of the fabric that I had in my stash, and I thought he could wear the things that don't really work properly, that are not perfect. Some were like, I don't know, doing work in the shed. He does a lot of woodworking, so working in the shed doesn't really require you to be very smart. And I thought even if the clothes don't work, he can still wear them in the shed. But basically I wanted to practice, and I wanted to practice on the items of clothing, because you never know how your machine is going to behave. Like samples can be perfect and then suddenly you've got a surprise. So I made quite a few tops. I'm going to show you 3 of them because I've got 3 of them here. So I dragged them out of the laundry basket, as I often do. I made him, the first top is color blocked because I wanted to cover all the seams, and I'm going to show you the most horrible seam cover because I set the machine on high speed, so I think it was 6,000 stitches per minute. I just couldn't cope, so I can slow down. I can't control it with the foot pedal, but it's quite difficult. I was trying to cover it and trying to control the machine and trying a lot of things, so it's as imperfect as possible. I color blocked because that's the fabric that I had. And this is French terry, but this is Liverpool crepe. So they're not, well, they're the same weight, or roughly the same weight, but they're not the same type of fabric, but they work brilliantly together. And I just basically covered all the seams. I added ribbing and covered that. I covered all the seams, and look how wonky it is, because it is really difficult sometimes to control the machine that you've been using for the first time. And then the sleeves, all the color blocked bits are also cover stitched, so that's the cover. And the bottom band is covered as well. I'm really ashamed. Yeah, see? It's so much off. But it is meant to be worn in the shed. And I used yellow ribbing, and it actually looks really nice in it, so I kind of regret that I didn't take more time to work on it. Maybe I'll unpick it and I'll do it again. Well, all I wanted was to try. A lot of practice. I need a lot of practice. And there is a pocket here as well. So the pocket is cover stitched here, and the ribbing is cover stitched here. Right? So that's the first one. Then I made him something that I think is self-drafted. Is it self-drafted? I think so. I was using the scraps, so I used the owls that I had, and I used 2 needle cover stitch to cover the seams. And I think I actually prefer normal clothes, like everyday clothes, casual everyday clothes. I probably prefer the kind of fake flat felt seam look created by 2 needles wide cover stitch, just with the needle thread visible on the right side. Not everything needs to be covered. It's just that if I can, I'm probably going to cover too many things, but that's how it looks like, and I like this look. I know it's not even clean. That's the bits that are color blocked, and all of them are covered like that with 2 needles wide. It's got a stripe of owls in the middle as well, and the fabric is ponty. I made it too long because this one is longer. Now I can see that this one is longer. This is ponty and this is French terry. This French terry is from dresówka.pl, and as I said, I only had scraps, but I loved it. I think it's digital print, and I don't even remember what I made out of the rest. It's because I bought it 2 or 3 years ago. I don't think they have precisely the same print now on sale. They go back to print, so you never know. And finally, and this is definitely self-drafted because I remember that I was changing stuff here to fit him better, and it fits him probably the best. Again, I used scraps to make the top. And again, the only reason I made this top is because I wanted to cover the seams. So I was covering like a crazy person. So every color blocked bit, the one on the sleeves and the one at the front, is cover stitched. So that's top and bottom cover stitching in here. And I made the pockets just using the cover stitch, and I'm quite proud of them because they are freehand. So I didn't draft it, or I didn't draw the lines, I didn't do anything. I decided that I can do a semicircle and the pockets work, but I will never do it again. Next time I'm going to baste everything because I felt almost physically sick from fear when I was doing that. But yeah, it was quite fun. So I covered the pockets as well because the ribbing is attached to the pockets. The pockets are this shape, right? Well, it's a brilliant way of using up scraps, and that was my main idea behind having a cover stitch machine for the top and the bottom. I definitely don't recommend buying an industrial cover stitch if you don't need it. I don't think I need it, I just really wanted it, and that was my reward for very, very hard work. That's the only reason, but I don't think everybody needs one, no. And it's quite a difficult machine to master properly. If something goes wrong and you don't know what to do, you have to phone your engineer. So the maintenance might not be very easy. I mean, everything is perfect when things are perfect, but when things go wrong, they can go spectacularly wrong with industrial machines. But I like them. Okay, let's move on. I've also made Frankie T from Till in the Buttons stretch book, and I've made so many of them that this is probably, I don't know, getting into like hundreds now. Well, probably not, but again, I wanted to cover stitch, so I used scraps of my fabric. I wanted to use up scraps of my fabric as well to make the Frankie, and it's color blocked, so it's got 3 colors. And I really liked this French terry, and I didn't want to waste it, so I only had that much, and I used that much. So the front panel, the kind of middle panel, is made out of my prettiest French terry. Then there is, well, equally pretty but not as interesting French terry that is kind of melange, so speckled, salt and pepper type of thing, and it's grey, bluish, whatever you want to call it. And then the sleeves are different. The sleeves are made out of ponte. All the rest is French terry of roughly the same weight, but this is made out of ponte di Roma, and it works. So if it works, why change it? And that is French terry again. Kind of the colors are matched with the front panel and back panel, the middle panel, right? Because you've got some pink and orange and greyish blue colors everywhere here. And this is also melange, so again, it is speckled. And yes, again, I made it because I wanted to cover it, and it is not covered perfectly, but I'm getting there. I am trying to, I'm just learning to control my fabric. I don't pin things, so I need to learn to control my fabric, so I need a lot of practice. Just to make it clear, this top is never going to be worn in public. It's a practice piece made of scraps. I don't know why I thought it would be a good idea not to match the front and the back panels. The pattern Frankie is a baseball tee with raglan sleeves, but my sleeves are changed. I tend to change most patterns. I also reduced the hip curve and took the pattern in the sides a bit. I started with the smallest size in Tilly's, it's 1, I think. Yeah, the rest is covered either with 2 needles cover stitch, 2 needles wide cover stitch, or 3 needles cover stitch. I've changed the thread as well, and that's 3 different colors of the thread. And that's basically it, just another Frankie, but I am going to wear it, and it's quite a fun top. I really, really like it, and I'm very, very glad that I used up the fabric that I had. You can't see the blue one. The hem is curved in here. I don't generally like curved hems, but I made one because I wanted to see if my machine can hem them properly. This machine is very good for hemming, so my new industrial cover stitch is extremely good for hemming because you've got the hammer guide. I've never seen a guide like that. It's just, you don't really have to do anything. It just does it for you. So yeah, for hemming, amazing. And then quite possibly my favorite make of this episode is Iris Hoodie. Well, it's not really the Iris Hoodie anymore, but the pattern is from Schnitchen patterns, and it's called Iris Hoodie. And the original pattern is nothing like what I do with mine, but I've changed the pattern a lot because it just suits me and it kind of fits my lifestyle better. The original pattern is longer and much longer, and it doesn't have a hem band. It's got a hem, and it doesn't have a lot of other things, because I even changed the hood now. I've changed a lot. I don't even remember what I've changed, because I made this button plenty of times, I think last year, and and I kind of add it every time I make it slightly differently. But well, the base is Ibis Hoodie by Schnitchen, and in here, yeah, I've got the cuffs with thumb holes, and you can learn how to make them from my video. I'll add it here. So if you want to make your own, you can make them. They're made out of ribbing, right? And that's French terry. That's French terry, and I wanted to use this French terry because I love it, because it's so autumnal. You've got conkers here, so come on, this is the perfect time of the year to wear this hoodie. But I made my usual pocket. The pocket is not from the pattern. I make my pockets on my own, and again, you can watch a video and you can make your own as well, because I've got a video showing you how to make pockets like that. I wanted to have some fun, so I used my variegated thread or rainbow thread to cover stitch everything, and this one is still on the Juki MF7923, so that's reverse cover stitching, upside down cover stitching, and I cover stitched the hood as well, so you can see it inside, because I thought it would be more visible, and in here you can only see the 3 needles stitch, and I love it. And yeah, it's just perfect. I absolutely love it. I live in my hoodies. When it gets colder, I always wear them a lot, so I always need them. And I like the fact that in this particular pattern, the hood is huge. It's just ginormous. It looks like that. It is overlapping. I'm not sure if you can hear me. So I feel a bit like a nun wearing this hood. I feel very secure. I feel very cozy. My wardrobe has always been very comfortable, very cozy, and I do wear normally a lot of dresses, but my dresses tend to be comfortable, or at least tend to be made in Jersey to provide more comfort for me. But because now we are working like apart from home and the offices are isolated, so I don't really see many people. When I go to the office, I don't really see that many people. I think everything is changing towards people generally dressing more casually. I can wear pretty much whatever I want, and I think I'm getting even more and more casual. I can wear this hoodie to work now. I don't. For some reason, I still hesitate. I still dress up to work, and I think it's more for me because I feel I'm going out. Not out, but I'm going to see people and to be seen by people, so I should perhaps look presentable for work, because I am being paid for looking decent, you know. Well, I'm not being paid for that, but it's part of the job to not scare people with my very colourful clothes. That's how I see it. That's a very subjective perspective. It's got nothing to do with the truth. I could probably wear whatever I want, especially now. Yeah, I do like this hoodie, and I can definitely recommend the pattern. I really like the pattern. It's quite funky, and I generally like Schnitchen patterns. I buy them even though they start with size, well, roughly, I would say more 8 than 6. I have to size them down, but I still like them. Very much like Berda patterns. They are a German company, and I suppose there is something European about them that I like. Hard to say what, but I do like the patterns. The Ibis hoodie from Schnitchen Patterns is a raglan sleeve hoodie. In the original pattern, it's longer with a straight hem and a pouch pocket. I love the enormous hood and the sleeves, which are relatively narrow, especially compared with the boxy body. The pattern comes in sizes European 34 to 44, 46 or XS, XL. So the smallest size would be for the bust 32.5 inches, or in centimeters it's 82 centimeters, to about 42 inches bust for the biggest size, or in centimeters 106 centimeters. I make my huge lined pocket because I want to steal kittens. It's a perfect pocket for stealing kittens, really. This pattern is great for color blocking. The hood doesn't have to be lined, but I prefer lined hoods. You can also add a drawstring to the hood. And this one is my my own House of Akong tiger sweater, or Wear Anywhere, I think, as it's called. The pattern is called differently now. I love it, and it's really kind of, I don't know, something to slouch in, something to, well, let's say lounge wear. I have no idea why I like it so much, but I do. It's the simplest thing ever, because it's just a jumper, the front and the back and the sleeves and nothing else. And I wanted the sleeves to be sort of elbow length, and I suppose I should make them either shorter or longer because they're a strange length, but that was actually determined by how much fabric I had. I wanted them to be slightly longer, but I didn't have enough fabric because this jumper is made out of scraps. Loads of things that you've seen today are made out of scraps purely because of the cover stitching. So yes, I did cover stitch all the color blocking bits, as you can see here. And again, I used 2 needles wide because I think I prefer this look. So this is probably something that I'm going to go for. So not every seam needs to be covered. It's more my sports clothes are going to be covered top and bottom, and my casual clothes are not. And I can't stop moving. It is a very comfortable jumper. Really, really comfortable. I'm going to wear it at home. I added ribbing. The ribbing is almost the same color. So kind of cocoa color, or what? I don't know, camel color, whatever you want to call it. It's got the bottom panel from the same fabric, and then the ribbing is, well, the same as the sleeves, right? And it is cover stitched. It is cover stitched everywhere, and the ribbing is used here as well. This fabric is from Metr I Centimetr. I think both are, because I think they kind of offer you the option of the plain French terry that goes with the printed French terry, or they used to do it. I'm not sure if they do it anymore. And yeah, they're right. They kind of pick them very, very precisely. The same with the ribbing. If they recommend that this ribbing goes with this color or whatever, it will. So yes, I do trust them. And I think I bought it all together because I wanted to make things. And I made a lot of things for HB as well. The House of Aekong Tiger Sweater is a boxy jumper pattern suitable for beginners and originally meant to be sewn with an applique of a tiger. It's roomy and cozy, comfortable and comforting. It comes in sizes UK 6 to 24, and as it's a basic pattern, you can use it to create your own design. Okay, I'm getting very tired, so there is going to be another makes video, and that's enough for today. Thank you very much for watching, and see you soon. Bye!